bogeys in there as well. So a lot of the dawn breakers and the dawn patrol or the dew breakers did start off, and they've had a fairly good exploits here. Park Hyun Kyung gets on to her second stroke. She's going in with a 5-iron for hole number 8. Remember, one of the things at this country club is, of course, we're going in with the old resort. There's the Dunes course and the old course. This, of course, is the old left of the flagstick. Mada Som actually has 2 wins already. She won the previous event as well. Yoon Ina leads as far as the rankings are concerned. Second stroke for hole 8. Another very stylistic golfer. She's a pretty girl, has a huge amount of fans, and have a lot of respect for her. The fact that, well, she's been through, challenging the winners of each championship. It's over to Kim Jae-hee as she tees off for hole number 12. And this is where you really have to, well, draw in your best when you're looking at, well, some of those greens that we're talking about, or the carpet area. Lee Won tees off for hole number 9, right there in the top 5 rankings right through the year. She's had 3 wins, just like Park Ji-young in the year. And if Mada Som, well, does pull off a win here today, she'll just kind of, be on par with them. Having said that, Yoon Ina has played the least amount of events, and yet she's been able to keep herself in good stead. So interesting times here. It's a fairly easy day in these parts. Temperature at about 9 degrees Celsius. Yoon Ina, she's on to, well, hole 8. Well, that whisper from the crowd says much. So 9 degrees Celsius, 58% to turn. As Park Hyun Kyung aims for birdie on hole 8. It's a bit of a distance, has to chip it from the rough. Well, that just took a different direction, didn't it? It took a detour. But I think that's going to be, well, a safe enough position for her to probably finish with an even score. That we're looking at. That's 3 rounds for the count. Lee Won on to a second. 121 meters to cover with a 9-iron. I think Lee Won are still trying to, find her footing. That's beautifully done. Yoon Ina will have her fans and her support always, and I think that's really well done. Does a great bit for her confidence. Park Hyun Kyung looks to finish on par for hole number 8. And Park Hyun Kyung will be happy about that. She, well, just avoided a double bogey, but she had to finish off with a bogey on day 2 or round 2. It really is, well, very important for the golfers to perform at their best today to secure a position for round 2. Lee Won aims for birdie on hole number 9. And I do believe she isn't really at her best. She's still trying to settle down. And she's not one of those quick starters. Neither is Yoon Ina, to be fair. They do have their moments. Hwang Yumin, another one of those players who starts off very, very slow and then suddenly, packs it in round 2 and round 3. And we just spoke about this amazing athlete Yoon Ina. She'll tee off for hole number 9. 387 meters. It's a par 4 for the asking. It's a very interesting hole just to look at it. It's a long hole. There's a steep downhill slope where the green is visible from the tee off at a glance. And the green, of course, slopes very high on the right, and it also slopes towards the left. It's have to be seen what Park Hyun Kyung can come up with. She's up against Mada Som and Yoon Ina.
자, 이제 다리랑 거 갖다 놓고
Park Hyun Kyung next, employing a 9-iron to cover 116 meters. Gets a second stroke for hole number 9. Park Hyun Kyung not too satisfied with her efforts here. Yoon Ina will go next. Now this is an approach shot for her, 66 meters to the hole. Remember, we spoke of hole 9. It's a bit tricky with the slopes in there on the green, and I think that's what most golfers will be, looking to avoid when they get onto the carpet. There's always a tendency to just punch it a bit more, too much of club employed in there, and it'll be interesting to see how well she navigates through this. So that's very impressive. That is very, very impressive. And this is what she does. She'll have the half smile, and when she does have that, she's pleased with that effort. Very well done. It's a nice setup. So we'll talk about that at length later, but he really has. This course has a very old, it's called the old course for a reason. It's a very old school look to it. I absolutely love it if you like things that are classic. Park Hyun Kyung aims for birdie on hole 9. Needs to get off the rough, and a narrow miss again for her as that skims past the destination. Will have to work to keep an even score. I think she's just about struggling a little bit with her strokes here today. It's fairly evident. Her body language will tell you a bit. She's not for that for the time being. Lee Won up next. So Lee Yvonne with the second stroke, very decent approach. I think good for her. Meanwhile, Yoon Ina will be planning her moves. She's up there with Mada Som and Park Hyun Kyung. And I think just a little more thought would have helped with that. But Yoon Ina just missing out on a birdie. That was hers to claim totally, actually. She'll have to take that even score. She had a very good approach, actually. Finishes with 36 on the front 9. She's had a bogey. And Park Hyun Kyung just trying to conquer her challenges here today. finishes on par for hole number 9. She's a lovely golfer to watch in action. Absolutely delightful. 37 there. She's had a birdie and 2 bogeys on the front 9. While Yoon Ina gets ready for her next challenge. As she tees off for hole number 10. Well, that's beautifully done. She's packed in a good bit of power into that lovely, well, body movement as well. And will just stay off the rough. You've got a natural stream running through the middle of the fairway, as you can see on the downhill. Got a bit of a sniffle, and that's actually due to the cold. If you started off a bit early, as I said, it was fairly chilly. It's actually more than saying the dawn patrol. It's right to call them the dew breakers, because that's exactly what we're looking at today. There's a ton of dew on the course. Park Hyun Kyung will tee off for hole number 10. You have to aim towards the bunker in front of the green to keep yourself out of trouble on hole number 10. And the approach for hole number 10 is it's uphill. You can see it looks like the moon's craters, doesn't it? Well, those sand traps are they have to be one of the most scientific looking in any of the courses. Absolutely love that. Leave on, aiming for birdie on hole number 10. We'll have to settle for an even score. Would love the cameraman, of course, to probably persuade him to give us a look at those moon's craters again. It's probably one of the, elements. Park Hyun Kyung on to hole number 10. Yoon Ina onto her second stroke for hole number 10. 91 meters, going in with a 50-degree wedge. Well, it's going to be interesting. Oh, I just spoke about those moon's craters, and there they were. All lovely setup there. Great approach shot from Yoon Ina. She just does delight. Has some great moments that she will put on display. Lee Won. She's got a good bit of swing into that one. Almost seemed like a double-handed tennis shot. Another stellar golfer to watch in action. She's been really put a skill on display this year. Just a quiet moment there as Park Hyun Kyung aims for birdie on hole 10. And that just slipped out at the wrong time. Well, she would have been great for her morale here. Yoon Ina goes next as she aims for birdie on hole number 10. It was a very good approach shot from her. And that's just going to be another narrow miss for her. She would have loved to have gone up to a 1 under. Oh, lovely tap in there from her. She'll finish it off with an even score. And I said that she's got her support here today. She's got a number of fans. And, more. Hyun Kyung should be, well, mighty pleased with the fact that she's, well, kept herself on the fairways, just avoided that bit of a thicket on the right. And I think that's so important. I love those colors. And one of the greatest things that you get when you come to Korea, parts of Japan as well, but if you're in Korea, well, she's just one of those golfers who just takes things into her stride, isn't it? Oh, having said that, I think I did see that she was wearing a skirt, if I'm not mistaken. You got to brave the weather sometimes. Leave on. Oh, just narrowly missing out on a birdie. That a bit of a slope there, curving towards the right. Hyun Kyung, second stroke. Very impressive. Yoon now will go next. Here's Kim Jae-hee. Second stroke for hole 14, using a 6-iron to cover 148 meters. She's got herself onto the green. Is that going to roll closer towards the destination? Well, left to be seen pretty much. That's not going to be too much of a challenge for her. I think she should be happy with it. Yoon Ina next. 206 meters to the hole, and she's got herself onto the rough for the first time in the last few holes. I think it will be interesting to see how that well pans out. So Yoon Ina has got to get herself off the beach, and it isn't, the temperature isn't right to be on the beach today. So Yoon Ina needs to get herself out of that spot, onto the green. Very impressive. That's a pretty fabulous escapist route, if you ask me. Turn a disadvantage into an advantage. She's actually set herself up for an underscore finish. Meanwhile, Lee Won aims for birdie on hole 12. Is that going to carry? It will, but just past the flagstick. So we're just talking about this club as Yoon now cleans up her effort there. Was just talking about this course and how the club is situated in this hilly mountainous area of Chuncheon, Gangwon-do province, and it's 1 hour's drive away from Seoul, just in case you want to get here. It's quite closely connected. The architect, of course, An Moon-hwan, well, designed this 2 18-hole courses at the Lawi Ebel. Hyun Kyung next. And she'll have to work for that, for those points there. An Moon-hwan, as I said, a Korean golf architect. Now he's put together the old course and a double bogey as well in that first 9. It was a slow start for her. Yoon, picture of concentration, got herself out of the beach. Can she get it into the tin cup here for hole 11? Well, that's got to be disastrous, isn't it? She's had about 4 of those that she's missed out today. She could have carried a 4 underscore, and I think she's going to be fairly disappointed with this one. Sometimes you do that slight, well, slope that's there to get a birdie for herself. Hyun Kyung, meanwhile. And then even score finish on hole number 11 for her. At back 9. Meanwhile, Hyun Kyung gets ready to tee off. That's for hole number 12. It's a par 3 for the asking, but it's a very tricky one because the way you tee off and the way it lands on the green, you could actually carry yourself away from the tin cup or bring yourself closer to it. Yoon will tee off for hole 12. That just bounced away from the destination. It's going to be a bit of hard work though to try and nail a birdie with this one. Yoon has set herself up with some very good shots, but it's all about the Lee won. Second stroke for hole 13. That's well placed. She's got herself onto the green, but at a bit of a distance. To position yourself right there in contention of an underscore now. Lee Yvonne will move on to tee off for hole number 14. It's an interesting take from her as well. She's had a fairly, I'm not going to say interesting contest, but it's been a fairly challenging contest. She's got a cell phone to the fairways, and I think she'll be happy about that. Got a good spot on the fairways, Mada Som. Park Hyun Kyung goes next for hole 13, 338 meters. It's a par 4 for the asking. Park Hyun Kyung. Yoon Ina will tee off next. Hole 13 is what we're looking at. It's a bit of a tricky hole, as we discussed earlier. Yoon Ina will go next. And that's a second stroke for hole 13. She's missed out on a few birdies here today. Park Hyun Kyung, second stroke for hole 13. Yoon Ina aims for birdie on hole 13, has to conquer that slope, and was always going to carry through. You look at how that ball picked up pace. It's a downward slope, and downward slopes are always the most tricky. Sometimes I feel the upward inclines are just a tad bit easier to work with. But downward slopes, depending on the way that the ball slopes, it can carry really forward. Yoon needs to get herself off the rough. It's a bit of a challenge, a bit of an ask if you look at it. Her third stroke on hole 14. Can she nail a birdie with it? I think it's a tough one. She's chipped that nice and easy. That's going to carry forward, but it won't find its way through for the time being. And Yoon Ina, that's going to do her confidence a lot of good. She needed that. The birdies might be out of contention. Park Hyun Kyung next. Well, she's had her moments today, but Park Hyun Kyung finally gets a birdie there on hole 13 after starting off a day with a birdie. 2 birdies, 2 bogeys, and I think she can only, well, get stronger from here on. Lee Yoon, meanwhile, had a very, very interesting year. 3 wins for the count. Will finish on par for hole number 14. Fairly well struck to keep herself on the fairways, and that's what you really require at this point of time. Park Hyun Kyung, she's looking a lot more, well, stronger. And that smile says it all. She really had a few challenges, you know, after starting off her day at the office with a lovely birdie. She just kind of slouched, had 2 bogeys to follow that through, and then took a while before she could get back to birdie land. Yoon Na will tee off for hole 14 next. And Lee Yoon gets ready as well. That's a very, very fancy effort from her. It's a nice spot on the fairways as well. Oh, that's such a scenic look, isn't it? Those colors are just so stunning. And I was just a while back was talking about John. Hyun Kyung, 149 meters to the hole, a second stroke on hole 14. Spirit here today by Sohyun. Yoon Na goes next. That's for hole number 14. It's the second stroke, 122 meters using a 9 iron. Let's not forget that hole 14, the approach shot is very, very important. You've got an uphill green, just as we can see, and I think she's placed that beautifully. She's got herself into the right area, and that smile will say it all for Yoon Na. One of those golfers that is very stylistic, very flamboyant, Park Ji-young. She's had a good run this year, to be fair. Park Hyun Kyung needs to get just off the rough and into the tin cup, which she'll attempt to do. Just needed a bit more encouragement, if you ask me, from the crowd to find that in. Yoon Na on next, will aim for birdie on hole 14. And she's done it. What a joy for her. Yoon Na will get a cheer from the crowd as she birdies that, moves up to a 1 under finally. As she's delighted with that. It's taken a good bit of time to earn it. She started off a day with a bogey, redeemed herself with a birdie in that front 9, but now really good moment for her. Lee Yoon onto her fourth stroke for hole 15. She's had to go through the motions today. It hasn't been easy for her, and that is fantastic. What did I just say? That is absolutely stunning, and well, leave on prancing like a little kid in a candy shop. I would be too. Absolutely marvelous. You've got to get a view of that. Oh, that is such a wonderful birdie for her. That just creeped in. That ball said, I'm just going to do her a good turn here today. That is definitely one of our, well, birdies of the highlights today. No doubt about it. Sometimes you may get an eagle from that, there for Mara Som. Lee Won will hold on to that ball. Oh, she did get an eagle. She did get an eagle. I do stand corrected on hole number 15.
굿샷!
And that was so needed. Well, so needed here for Kim Soo-ji. Up next, it's going to be Yoon Na. Yoon Na, of course, will tee off for hole number 15. Now, do keep in mind the fact that hole number 15 itself has got its own fair share of challenges. It's a par 5 for the asking, and Yoon Na looks like events this has been for most of our golfers. Here's the lady that landed the eagle, Lee Won, putting the honors to tee off for hole 16. It's a par 4 for the asking. Also a very, very important hole, except for the fairways and the green. All areas are covered with rice paddies, as you can see. And it's a very, very interesting hole, because it's important to get your tee shot straight onto the fairway. And in the approach shot, you have to reach the green. You must not fly the green, because there's a large diagonal bunker there. So it's best to get at least a bit of a long shot, but not too much. Here's Hyun Kyung, a second stroke for hole 15. Interesting times here for our golfers. And we were just talking about this, whether she did get out of bounds, Yoon Na, earlier. Well, she didn't. She actually stayed within the fence, Yoon Na, with the second stroke for hole 15. And I think she's done well, fairly well. She's got herself back onto the fairways, and she'll be happy about that. Meanwhile, Yoon Na has her own challenges in front of her. Third stroke on hole number 15. Suddenly decided to hook that one. I don't think she was entirely in control of that effort. She's got herself away from the green. Well, just a small loss in to redeem herself. Hyun Kyung onto a third stroke for hole 15. So Park Hyun Kyung, she too has had a fair challenges today. We might see, of course, an entirely different, well, list of players tomorrow. Lee Won, second stroke for hole 16. She's going in with an 8 iron, 120 meters to the hole. Waiting for a slice. It's a short downhill 3 hole, so it's wise to choose a club after looking at the distance, and I think that's what Bai So Yoon did. Meanwhile, looking to get out of the cat box is Yoon Ina. Oh, that was so close, wasn't it? So Yoon Ina just putting herself at a bit of a distance from the flagstick. She knows she had to chip that a tad bit hard. Now here's Lee Won. She was a happy camper a while back when she nailed an eagle. Aim for birdie on hole 16. Well, that would have been such a perfect finish, but that's just going to dip away to the right thanks to that slope there. Kim Jae-hee aims for birdie on hole 18 and she'll just go past the destination. I don't think that's what she was expecting. It's been a fairly quick round of golf, if you ask me, in round 1. Moved much faster than I thought it would have. Park Hyun Kyung. So on to hole 15, aims for birdie. And Park Hyun Kyung will have to just wait her turn. Yoon now will go next. Remember, she had to get out of the cat box. She did that well, but she flew past the flagstick. We'll have to finish on par here for hole 15. And that's just going to skim past the surface as well. Nothing, not what she would have expected. So Kim Jae-hee finishes with 34 on the back 9, 37 on the front 9, and a 1 under. So Mada Som will be happy. Yoon Na, bogey is the 15th. It was always going to be tough for her. After she landed herself, in that cat box. But Bai So Yoon, meanwhile, will look to clean that up easy. A birdie on hole 17 now. That's the 5th time she's missed out on a birdie. And I think that's going to be a bit worrying for her. But as she gets in tomorrow, I think she will look to rectify this. She's going to have a good, long, hard look at this. 5 birdies missed. And it says a lot, because you could have actually led, you know, the leaderboard all the way through. Now Park Hyun Kyung winning the honors to tee off. She's got Yoon and Mada Som to contend with. And that's hole number 16 as she tees off. Nice follow through from her as well. She just stayed put. Not too much of swing, not too much of turn of the body or the torso. Yoon now gets ready next. She'll have to be very, very careful with this shot to avoid getting herself onto the thick. Or the thicket, to be precise. And I think that's decently done. Birdies on the front and then 2 birdies on the back 9. But I think she should be fairly happy with the performance here today. Park Hyun Kyung, well, did find her own stride somewhere in between, still carrying that even score. For hole 16, it's a second stroke. Second stroke for hole number 16 for Yoon Na. She's got to be very, very careful about those 2 sand bunkers. 2 in front actually, and then 1 behind the green. Oh, well played. Well played. That's got to roll back a little bit onto the rough, but I don't think it's going to bother her too much as long as she could stay out of the hazards. And the official will just having a look. Was there some sort of infringement that he spotted? We shall find out. Lee Won, meanwhile, will aim for birdie on hole 17. It's a bit of a distance to the destination. And that's going to carry forward, and that ball definitely afraid of the dark here. That's a nice finish. Yes. Yoon almost nailing that, and she knows it. Park Hyun Kyung. She's still got 2 more holes to play for. Will aim for birdie on hole number 16. And that's going to be a sheer bit of joy here for Park Hyun Kyung. As I said, she's had her challenges today, but you know, to overcome them, to keep yourself in good stead, she's got 2 more holes to play for, and I think she'll just be happy to find her groove. All Lee Won gets ready to tee off. Well, that's a solid bit of a whip from Lee Won. Any favors, and I think she'll have to go back to, Park Hyun Kyung to tee off after she won the honors to do so, you would think. But she's got Mada Som also in there. Park Hyun Kyung will tee off for hole number 17 using a 6 iron. 160 meters to cover. We'll talk about our golfers coming good right here at the end of the day. But Park Hyun Kyung just views Yoon now gets ready to tee off for hole number 17. As we said earlier, it's a par 3 for the asking, 160 meters to cover. That's landed plumb onto the green. But very, very far from the destination, and it's going to be a Herculean task to find your way through here, but you never know. Golfers have proved to have Herculean strength. So Yoon now gets ready. She'll aim for birdie on hole number 17. Oh, I think that's a bit of a loose-ended shot. It had a good bit of confidence, but just a bit too much of club on it. I think Yoon now wanted to get it done and dusted with as soon as possible. Here's Park Hyun Kyung. Also aiming for birdie on hole number 17. Oh, what a narrow miss. That ball just decided to turn away at the last minute. Park Hyun Kyung, she'll be disappointed because she's had such great opportunities today. Couldn't encash all of them, and I think that that's really going to be a tad bit of a concern for her. She'll clean that up nice and easy for an even score. Still has one hole to play for, but those birdies were needed, certainly, in the contest. Kim Soo-ji will be around tomorrow, but will she be challenging that top spot, the championship win? I think that's left to be seen. Yoon now. She was looking to finish with an on-par. Now she will land up bogeying that. I don't think any of these golfers, Yoon, Mada Som or Park Hyun Kyung, wanted to finish with a bogey or an even score. And that's just going to drop her down the points order because it took her a while before she got to that 1 under. She knows it. It's a bit of disappointment for her. At the other end, here's Lee Won. The third stroke for hole 18. She'll be looking to finish her day's event. Just for a moment, I thought that was a duff shot. Just for a moment. But I do believe she just gave it a gentle nudge. She knew the momentum of that slope was going to carry it forward. Smartly played, just getting that direction a tad bit wrong. Maybe it required a bit more control with that shot. But I think I don't think she's going to be too displeased about it. So well done there. Hyun Kyung will tee off for the last and final hole of the day. 372 meters to cover. This is hole number 18. Par hole with one of the best scenic shots. You can see the colors of those trees there, and I think Hyun, as I said, the remaining distance also is very long, so you actually have to safely pass the long beach bunker to safely complete the long journey to the green. It's a two-tiered green, has a downward slope from the left to the right, and that's something that I think most golfers would try and avoid. Park Ji-young really stepping up the performance. Lee Won up next. Lee Won will look to finish with an on par for hole number 18. And that's exactly what she does. She's got a cheer from the crowd as well. Finishes with 1 under. Had an eagle on the 15th, 3 bogeys and 2 birdies on the front 9. But she's pleased as punch with her performance. Hyun Kyung to go next. It's a second stroke for hole 18, 140 meters to cover. She's going in with a 7 iron. That's a beautiful shot, absolutely beautiful approach shot from Hyun Kyung. It'll be a nice way for her to end the day. It has got a little chillier as the evening has progressed. You can see Hyun Kyung getting her jacket on, and there's a reason for it. Temperature, of course, has dipped a little bit. Excelling there with her approach shot. Let's see what Yoon Ina can do next. Yoon Ina has been a bit of an enigma this year. She won the Jeju Samdasu Masters on the 4th of August. She has played fewer events than all the other golfers. Hasn't won as much as Lee Won, who's won 3 events, or for that matter Park Ji-young, who's won 3 events. But she is at the top of the leaderboard. So she has 11.99 points getting into this event. 419 total points from only 24 events played. And that has been her silver lining in 2024. Park Ji-young, on the other hand, has 10.24 ranking points. Total pair. Oh, that is fantastic. That looks straight out of a painting, doesn't it? And that's what golf courses normally do. You know, those aerial shots, the drone shots, they give us fantastic views. Yoon Ina will aim for birdie on hole 18. She's at quite a distance. It was Hyun Kyung who had the closest, well, landing there. 11.5 meters to the hole. And Yoon Ina will have to, try and nail an on-par finish. Yoon Ina looking to finish on par here for hole 18. So Yoon now finishes with 37 on the back nine, 36 on the front nine. Not what she was expecting. Quick hug there for Mada Som. And here's Hyun Kyung. She'll have to do exceptionally well here. She had such a great landing, such a beautiful approach shot. And that's the birdie. Well done there. She'll end with a smile, Hyun Kyung, and a 2 underscore. What a fine finish. 3 birdies in that back nine. 37 on the front, 33 on the back. It's a fabulous performance from her. Absolutely marvelous. Hyun Kyung has got good reason to smile here. And it's taken her a good bit of hard work, but she's finally got there.